Hi, I'm Steve Savant, National Marketing Spokesman for Creative One.
And I'm Clifford Blodgett, Director of Digital Marketing and Lead Generation for Creative One.
Today, we're talking about the 6 ways producers can use LinkedIn groups for lead generation.
Yeah, Steve, this is actually a great topic for us. This doesn't really go into our services as much, but this is how we get into LinkedIn and how we generate leads from this. So this is a lot of our best case strategies that we've taken and putting into this piece. So when we were doing lead generation through LinkedIn, I was like, you know what? There's a lot of pieces in here that we can kind of like pivot and give to our agents as well. So this is a nice piece that hopefully our agents can find in LinkedIn and start utilizing it utilizing this social media platform for that. Because essentially, LinkedIn has 124 million users in the United States. Now, all of those users are also they're sorted by their resumes, where they work, what their degrees are in, and all these different skill sets. So you can kind of start getting a feeling for the audiences that you want to be in. So so all of these social media interactions are done off of professionalism instead of I liked your page or I like this brand or something like this. These are people that are kind of like in the same seat, professionalism. So what we tell agents is to find a niche, find something you want to talk to or you're passionate about, and then find others from that. So there's a number of different strategies there, but we do everything from if you're big in your church, there's a lot of like Christian groups that you can join on LinkedIn. If you're into marketing or schools or your alumni base, those are also places that you can get into. So with that, in LinkedIn you can join up to 50 groups. That's a lot of groups, but if you're not doing a very good job, you can get past 50 really quick. We usually say 10, 12 groups, be active, and we'll get into those strategies on what you can do in there and use and leverage into your lead generation abilities.
Well, let's talk about the first one, creating market segmentation and buying personas.
Yeah, this is all about like who do you want to talk to in those groups. So finding those finding that person that you want to offend, essentially prospective clients that you want coming through your door. So if you're only wanting to market to certain groups or types of people, or or finding that niche that we talked about in the beginning, finding that group, but then also making sure that inside of that group that you're finding an active niche. It's not just a group that's there that might not have any love. It just might just be collecting members. And when you go into a group, LinkedIn will let you know, is this an active group or is it a very active group, or, and it grades them. So definitely look for that when you're choosing where to, kind of like come in and be a member of that community.
Number 2, it says here, make sure the group manager is involved. Now, I have to tell you, when I first read this, I was stunned by that. I thought they were all involved.
A lot of times, the group manager may have set up the group, had his best interest, when they went in it, but they're essentially an absentee manager. And so the group influencers, which we'll talk about here in a second, are actually kind of running the group, but the manager isn't there. Well, but you want that in there. You want someone who's regulating the group, who's kicking out garbage messages and stuff like that, and setting the rules and making it into a community that you can interact in, not just blast messages out in.
Well, let's talk about following the rules, because that sounds like that's a pretty big deal in LinkedIn, and you can be actually scolded by LinkedIn if you don't.
Yeah, before you pick a group, you need to definitely do your due diligence. Up in the top right-hand corner is a little eye, and if you click on it, it comes down and it says, hey, these are the rules of the group. LinkedIn has its own rules. You can't post bad images and stuff like that. But then there's a whole nother layer. That group could be like, we only talk about these topics. We are not promoting outside businesses, or like we only talk about this specific zip code of business. And so making sure that those, but when you go into it is very helpful, and it helps you stay on track and be a better community member.
Well, your number 4 says be a real person, which I thought was pretty obvious. Why did you put this in here?
In LinkedIn, you can go into a group, but a business page can't. So essentially, you're acting as the mouthpiece for your business. but you don't want it to come off that way. Like you want to share content that you might find that's relevant to that, but you don't want to just go in there and start broadcasting your company page, content to that. So your blog post might have a relevant topic. Every now and then include them, but go the next step. Be like, hey, I just wrote this, or hey, my company just shared this, and I find it relevant to the group because, and take that next step instead of just, broadcasting content.
Well, number 5 says identify the group's influencers. So especially when you said the manager might be in a passive situation, this would be a huge issue to identify who are the mover and shakers in this group.
And it's really easy to find out who those influencers are. There's 3 or 4 pictures up at the top right hand page that say these are the top contributors to the group, or these are the influencers of the group. So getting those people on your side, engaging in their post, that's the easiest way. Is when they post something, comment at the, I found this article was interesting, or have you thought about this, or engage that influencer, and they'll do it in turn. So the more the influencer knows of you, the more that you're going to become a more influential person in that group, and having the influencers on your side is a great way to start that.
I've been on LinkedIn myself for almost 5 years. I really understand number 6, respect two-way communication.
Not only respect it, but seek it out. So like what I talked before, ask questions. Hey, I found this article. What do you guys think? Or I posted this on my blog and I'm not sure about this. Or if somebody else posts something, give them feedback on what they post. Asking simple questions, starting a conversation. That's essentially what you're trying to do, is build a community. And by that, it's not just broadcasting of messages, it's talking back and forth. That's where those real relationships get in there. So if somebody posts something on, their job or their 401k or something like that, coming in then and being like, well, I've worked in this sector before and I can answer your questions. Now you've also positioned yourself as a thought leader in that too. And that's where those natural lead generation opportunities will then spring up. So being a real person, communicating to that point, and then, curating a conversation is huge in these groups.
Well, then why don't you give us a kind of a summary then of these 6 points?
Yeah, I think really when it comes down to is, there's 6 ways to get lead generation from this. And we use a lot of these strategies ourselves. We'll be active in these groups. We've identified them, and we're active in there. We're posting articles. We're commenting on other people's, other advisors, or if it's, other advertising agencies. I might be involved in a few digital marketing groups, but being able to be active in those communities. And that's essentially what this comes down to. I'm active, I'm participating, I'm positioning myself as a thought leader, and therefore when somebody says, hey, I have a question about this, you can kind of like slide in and say, hey, I can help you with this, me, and let's move forward from that. So the lead generation piece is an organic one, but it's definitely one that has a lot of trust behind it, and that's successful. So that's what we've done, and we wanted to bring that message to the users that use our videos for strategies. I'm Clifford Blodgett, Director of Digital Marketing and Lead Generation for Creative One.
And I'm Steve Savant, National Marketing Spokesman, and you've been listening to 6 Ways Producers Can Use LinkedIn Groups for Lead Generation.